All right, everyone. Welcome to the NASCAR Nuts and Bolts podcast. I am your host this week, Gene. With me is my co-host Caleb and Thomas. And fellas, man, let me start by saying this is episode 5, so I didn't want to redo a Kyle Larson theme, but in honor of episode 5, I had to do it. For the listeners out there, when you watch it on YouTube, I guess you see I try to wear something different every week. If the only thing that rivals my diecast collection is my NASCAR T-shirt collection, so I was hoping to have a different driver for a little while, but yeah, it's episode 5, guys. I had to put Kyle back in the mix. How y'all fellas doing this week?
I'm doing good, doing good. Just wrapped up watching Race Hub and watching the special they did for Kevin Harvick following that episode. So that was pretty cool. And alluding to what you said about your 5 T-shirt, I didn't think about that when I saw it, but I gotta say I'm repping Gordon, the Gordon HMS 24 hoodie. So uh, uh, uh doing good, doing good.
All right, all
Anything to bring
right.
the conversation. Anyway, I'm doing good, guys. It's hard to believe there's only a few more days until the Clash. We finally get racing back. It seems it's time's gone by quick in a way. It's kind of hard to believe it's already time for racing again.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the last show where we won't have any on track action to talk about. So that alone gets me excited, man. I told y'all the excitement level is building week to week. Man, we're here. So I mean, one more episode of no on track action, and then we got the LA Clash at the Coliseum, boys.
That's right. That's right. Watching Race Hub, that got me excited. The team preview with the teams, the season preview, how teams are going to do, how drivers are going to do. I was excited to hear that. I was excited to see cars, talking about cars on the track, and then, Saturday practice, qualifying, and then Sunday's the clash. Then, we got the duel, I guess you could say the shootout, the duels on next Thursday, and then the Daytona 500. So I'm pumped. I'm ready. We're 20 days away from the 500.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thomas, what you got? You got anything for the intro, man?
I don't think so.
Okay. Caleb, what you got? I know you got something for the intro. I know you
Well,
got something.
speaking of Race Hub and, you know, America's crew chief, Adam Alexander, Keselowski was on the show. And, it got me thinking, Fox a couple days ago just announced the lineup. Well, not the lineup, but who's going to be in the booth. And, Harvick's back in the booth. Well, Harvick's going to be in the booth. You know, Mike Joy, historian of the sport, is going to be back in there. And old Clint Boyer is going to be back in the booth. So I just want to hit on that a little bit. You know, let's talk about the Fox booth. How do we feel about the Fox booth? Fox coverage in general.
Whoa.
I think it could be improved a lot. But when talking about the commentators, I would like to see Larry Mack back in the booth. I know
I
he
agree.
does the stuff with the Toyota cutaway car. I know he does that kind of stuff, but I would like to see him back in the booth for a season. But that would be an improvement I would like to see. But I don't know how anybody else would feel about that.
So, Thomas, it's funny. Like, I actually have been saying that for years. And I always thought Larry Mack just took a step back himself due to, being the OG, so to speak, with Fox NASCAR. So, I would love to see that crew chief element thrown back into the mix. But to answer Caleb's original question, I'll just say, like, I'm super excited, man. I think Fox NASCAR has been lacking ever since Gordon left the booth. And I know people might feel one way or the other about Jeff Gordon doing it, but I just really am excited to get Kevin's perspective. He's fresh out that next gen car. Um, I mean, one of 10 NASCAR drivers with 60 wins. I mean, brings instant credibility, and not that my boy Clint Boyer did not, aka Clint Boyer, but I just think they'll play well off each other. They were former teammates. They've known each other a long time. I'm really looking forward to the chemistry, and I hope that that's the catalyst that can bring some positive change to the somewhat stale Fox NASCAR broadcast. And I will say they get a bad rap, in my opinion, a lot of the time, but because NBC is hard to beat, fellas, with Junior and Steve
Can't top
Letarte
it.
and
Can't
Jeff
top it.
Burton and Rick Allen. You know, everybody gets Rick Allen every now and again. So it's hard to beat NBC, but I'll tell you, I'm really hopeful, man. What you got, Caleb?
Yeah, you guys talk about bringing Larry Mack back. As much as I would love to see Larry McReynolds back, a lot of people come to find out did not like this man in the booth. I would love to see DW back, but I know that's not gonna happen. Far fetched, not gonna happen. I would love to hear boogity boogity boogity. Let's go racing, boys. You know, drop the green flag at the 500. But like you say, Fox coverage could be improved. I'm not a big fan of their little cartoon superhero animations. Fox, to me, Fox is more like drinking a beer with your buddies on Saturday night at a bonfire, where NBC is more technical, and for the average fan watching, I feel like you're going to learn more in NBC versus you do Fox. So I
Yeah,
don't know, and I think Harvick he'll have some great insight and a little bit of seriousness into the booth. I would say.
yeah. I think honestly, guys, I'm just gonna say it. Like it when they signed Junior to that broadcast, they can't be. You can only go down from that, man. Junior is the man when it comes to anything NASCAR. I've said it before. I know Thomas and will agree with me. He just has that it factor, man. Like I think he brings both, like the technicality part, the lifelong fan and driver and NASCAR Hall of Famer part, but then also like, I mean, if Junior ain't the guy you want to drink a beer with, I don't know who is, man.
I'd say Blaney.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, they get live over there when the 12 wins, so you might be right. Thomas, what you think, man? Does Fox have a shot or to get up to that level of NBC?
I don't think so. I mean, like you said with Junior, he's the best in my opinion. I mean, and I think we'll have to see how Harvick does. I think Harvick's going to bring a very unique perspective and, like Caleb said, more seriousness to the booth. But we'll just have to see how Harvick does. But I don't think Fox can beat NBC at this point.
Now I gotta
Yeah,
add when, you know, I'd say I'd say Harvick's gonna do really good in the booth because during the 600 and a couple of races, they would do that thing during the Xfinity races where the cup drivers would be up in the booth, and you had Harvick, Blaney, and Logano up there, and that was a good trio, good mix. Or you had Harvick, Logano, and Keselowski up there, and Harvick and Logano, the chemistry mixed real well, and soon as before even Harvick retired, we all knew he was probably going to go to the booth more than likely, and I'm looking forward to it. I am, and but I know we can say this: we're all just excited. Cars going to be back on the track come February 18th.
I
absolutely.
heard you mention Brad Keselowski, and I would think that he's nearing the end of his career. Do you think he would want to go to the booth?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I think he'll focus on RFK more than anything versus before going instead of taking the Jeff Gordon route. I should say I feel like he'll continue his role at RFK and focus more on the team versus the booth.
Yeah, I have to agree with Caleb just because I don't know this for any fact or anything, but he just strikes me as kind of like a Matt Kenseth personality. Like, toward the end of his career, he's kind of not looking forward to all the extracurricular things. So he probably just wants to own his race team, make his cars go faster, sit there on top of the hauler with the headphones on, and be that guy. So I could like almost like a Roger Penske ish type of figure. So I have to agree with him, but I think he does great. I mean, I really think I'm super excited for Harvick because I really, I mean, like Caleb alluded to, I'm just waiting. I was waiting for probably 3 years for Harvick to get to this opportunity. So I'm really excited what he's going to bring. A lot of people don't remember he did a lot of the Xfinity races when he was driving. So I thought he did really good, man. Well, I got one thing I want to just update from before we get going. It's real quick, but today I got uh, a notification from Bob Pockrass that Josh Williams was going to drive the 16 car at the LA Clash, boys, and um, piggybacking off the last episode where I felt like I went in on Colleague a little bit, and then they announced this, and I'm like, my goodness, man. I mean, Can anybody with funding get in that car? Because maybe we need to get our listeners to pull some money together. And maybe I'm too old. My reflexes might be going. But maybe we can get Kaleb or Thomas in this 16 car with a little bit of funding, because apparently that's all it takes is just to have a little bit of money. They don't care who drives the thing. They're gonna let AJ Allmendinger sit on the couch next weekend. So what are your thoughts on that, fellas? Did we did Kaleb validate our talk yesterday or last week?
I'll hand that one over to Thomas.
I don't know. I just think Kaleb doesn't have the priorities straight. Something's not right over there. I mean, Josh Williams is a great guy. Don't get me wrong, but there's no future with him behind the wheel.
That's what I keep coming back to. Like, I think he's awesome, like personality wise. I mean, what he did parking it in Atlanta, I thought that was funny as heck. I mean, he got a lot of run on that, and I think he's a great personality and he's a great Xfinity driver for that series. But when you put him in a Cup car, and he's bringing some funding, and Daniel Hemrick's bringing a sponsor, I just feel like it's all about the money. But I don't want to harp too much on it. But I was just like, my goodness, AJ Allmendinger is going to sit on the couch while Josh Williams pilots that number 16 in LA.
Yeah,
don't make sense to me.
Yeah, I just think it's just so many other options you could go with to put in the 16 car. But hey, like you say, money talks.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And definitely does in NASCAR. Let's be honest. Yeah. But all right, boys, let's get to the racing rundown for this week, man. And I'm excited about this one because we get to give our way too early NASCAR 2024 Cup Series playoff predictions. So for the listeners, I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all, we have a top 10 here that we can all agree on. And I'm going to read the names out to you. The top 10 to make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2024, the NMB pod crew here, we all agree that it's going to be, in no particular order, by the way, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, William Byron, Christopher Bell. So I already uncovered the championship four, fellas, and I threw Denny and Joey and got them in there. Let's go with Mr. Bounce Back 2024, Chase Elliott. No more snowboarding. Makes it in easily. We got Ross Chastain, the Melon Man, making it in. We got Kyle Busch. And we got, for our number 10 spot that we can agree on, we got Tyler Reddick. So, boys, I'm going to kick it off to Thomas and ask y'all, we've already got our top 10. I want to know who your next 6 and final 6 are to make it into the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Thomas, what you got?
Okay. So starting off at number 1. So are we starting off at number 1? Is that what we should do? You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess technically it'd be 11 to 16 if you want to add a. Yeah. So who you got for 11?
I just did the first 6. I mean, I guess I just start from number 1. Number 1 spot, I got Kyle Larson.
Oh, you well, we already got that. You know what I'm saying? Like we already named our top 10 of guys. So I need the ones I didn't name. I need the 6 that you have in of the ones that weren't named just now. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, I must have did this one wrong then. But
hey, so we didn't get our ECU degree, our East Carolina University degree in math. We didn't do that yet.
Nope, that's for sure. Definitely did not do that.
All right, well hold up, man. I feel like I done just threw a curveball at you, brother. I don't want to do that. You want me to kick it to Kaleb real quick? Let him go.
Let him go first.
All right. Yeah. All right. I tell you what, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna let Kaleb go. Then I'm gonna go because I'm gonna tell you what, we might not even make it off me. By the time you might even forget about your 6. But then you can do your 6. Would you rather do it that way?
I guess.
All right. I tell you what. All right. I'm sorry. We done flub this up, listeners. I'm gonna go Kaleb first, then Thomas, and then when I do it, y'all gonna see that it's gonna be a talk. But go ahead, Kaleb. Give us 11 through 16, and if I need to repeat the ones for Thomas when I get to you, I will do it again, my friend.
So starting off, this is in no particular playoff order, points order, or anything. So Bubba Wallace, driver the number 23 Toyota Camry, I have him advancing.
Gotcha.
Second, I have Mr. Brad Keselowski advancing.
Mm-hmm.
Third, from Prosper, Texas, Mr. Chris Buescher, I have him advancing in. Fourth, I have
Okay.
Chase Briscoe advancing in points. Fifth, I have
Wow.
the driver of the number 48 Ally Chevrolet from Hendrick Motorsports, Mr. Alex Bowman, advancing in the playoffs.
Okay.
Then lastly, for my last spot, I have Mr. Carson Hocevar.
Whoa! Oh my God. Oh my God,
I
Caleb.
think I think Hocevar will miraculously get a win at Talladega, Daytona, or some strategy play may come into a race where it's just gonna fall into his hands, and he will
Okay.
advance in.
Okay.
But that is my
Now,
wild card of a driver who will get the 16th and final spot before the playoffs start.
wild card. What
Yes,
you did on this pod just now, there ain't no word. Wild card is the tame word for that because I thought my 16th and final person in was gonna blow y'all socks off and have you slamming something behind you. But that one, my friend, you just took the day right there because I did not have Carson Hocevar even sniffing the playoffs, but
at
I like your logic.
January 29th at 8:37 p.m. I said it
Time
here.
stamp. I love it, man. God bless. Okay, well, listen. All right, we done got this thing off with a bang. Carson Hocevar in his rookie year. Now, granted, it took William Byron what like 3 years to get into the playoffs. Or no, he got into the playoffs. I'm sorry, but okay. So are you saying he's gonna win?
I do. I think he'll
Okay,
win.
okay.
I don't
That's
think it'll
what
be
I
on
heard.
points. I just think it'll be a lucked out strategy call win or a lucked out, Talladega, Daytona win, maybe.
Okay. Well,
Not saying
that's
he's
gonna
gonna go. Not saying he's gonna go out there and win the 500 next Sunday, but but maybe the Coke Zero 400, maybe.
Okay. Well, I guess without having said anything else, I guess that puts a lot of pressure on Corey LaJoy. I guess that gets his seat not only just hot but nuclear.
Absolutely.
Good gracious. All right. All right, Thomas. Well, listen, you're not gonna be able to top that. I'm gonna be honest. So let's do this. I know you got a list there, buddy. I'm gonna read out
Mhm.
the ones that we go 1 through 10 on. You can cross them out and then give me your 11 through 16. You want to do it that way?
Well, I mean, I agree with what Caleb said about his drivers, but there is one I would change and add somebody else. But
Okay.
for his
So
11
who
through
who are you
16,
who are you taking out and putting in on Caleb's list then? Let's just do it that way.
I'm taking out Hocevar and I'm putting in Josh Berry in the 4 car.
Wow. Oh, here again. Wow. I thought my little measly 16th pick was gonna blow y'all's doors off, but evidently y'all came with the heat today. So
I mean,
y'all got Carson Hocevar and Josh Berry
mhm.
making it into the playoffs.
I
Yes.
don't
Wow.
know, man. I plan on going to the Richmond race this spring, and I was thinking about Richmond, and I'm like, for some reason, I feel like Josh Berry is going to pull an upset win. He's going to win and make himself to the playoffs. I don't know, something about it. I have a feeling about that. So
Now
we'll
Thomas,
see.
when we go to this Richmond race here in the spring, that's going to be a Larson beat down rundown, and Larson's going to lead every lap, and he's going to race while we're there. You
God,
already know that's going to happen.
you're trying to discourage me from going to the race, man. I swear. Well, I don't. I won't even buy tickets now.
Well, listen, I'm gonna brighten your day a little bit now. Now Larson won the Richmond race or the spring Richmond last year, right? So you can't repeat the Richmond race, right? That's not
He
gonna happen.
will. I mean, it's Larson.
No. Well, let me go ahead and get the tickets with you then, boys, because I'm not as confident that he can repeat it. I'm not as confident he can go back to Martinsville and win, which I would love to see him do. I was not at that Martinsville win last year, so man, that you guys, wow, is all I can say. That's a hot take, man. I love it. I love it. All right, so let me start mine by going to number 11. And y'all didn't even say this man's name. Martin Truex Jr. MTJ is my number 11th in. So that's not one any of y'all said, right?
No.
Wow. Okay. I do agree with you. Alex Bowman's going to have a bounce back season from the injury, and Blake Harris and the crew out there, they're going to do something. They got good equipment, they got good support and engines and strategy and everything. I got all the pieces, so I got him at number 12. I do have Brad Keselowski coming in at number 13. I do have driver of the number 2311, whatever sponsor he's got this week, Bubba Wallace, and got him going in at 14. My number 15 is Chris Buescher. So both RFK make it in, and I don't know why I put him down so low. I mean, the man won three, 4 races last year. I can't remember the exact number, but
yeah, Richmond, Richmond. And yeah, good.
yeah. There was like a stretch where he won like 3 right there, back to back or something. But anyway, Chris Buescher, number 17, Ford's going to make it in. And my final 16th driver to make it in was going to be your other Richard Childress Racing entry, Mr. Austin Dillon, in the number 3. He is going to race and win one of these first 26 races to make it into the playoffs, boys. And I mean, he did it, 2 years ago at the final Coke Zero 400. I mean, he's got a lot of detractors. I mean, everybody wants to get him to just get out of that car and get into the business side of Richard Childress Racing. But hey, I'm playing my card, and Austin Dillon is going to make it in as the 16th. And I left out Ty Gibbs, who I feel really strong about this year. That was a struggle for me to leave him out of the playoffs. I thought the way he was running the end of last season, he definitely would be one to make it in. But I couldn't. I just had too many drivers, and I had Daniel Suarez on a list that didn't quite make it. But man, you guys didn't even put MTJ in. Y'all laughing at me for Austin Dillon. But hey, what you guys say about that? I'll put it out there.
I mean, Larry McReynolds kind of tipped it on Race Hub earlier. This man was 29th in points, while his teammate Kyle Busch, driving the number 8 for Richard Childress Racing, got 3 wins into the season, advanced in the playoffs, and got eliminated at the Roval. So I think he said a couple top 10s, the best finish he had was like a top 5 somewhere, top 7. I don't know. But as Adam Alexander said, it's the beginning of the season. Everyone's optimistic. So hey, you're optimistic.
Hey, Thomas, you care to comment on this?
I mean, I like RCR. I like the History to 3 car. I don't have any problems with Austin Dillon, but I don't see it. I mean, I think his best finish of the year is going to be a top 5 by accident, like Daytona or Talladega. But I mean, I would like to see him succeed. I mean, I have nothing against him. I mean, if he won a couple of races, I'd be very happy for him. But I just don't see it happening. I mean, I would buy the diecast for sure. I mean, if it was.
Yeah, well, I told Kaleb earlier in the summer, or I'm sorry, not the summer. What am I talking about, guys? Earlier in the winter, in the off season, I told Kaleb, I said, man, I think I might start collecting Austin Dillon race wins because, I mean, yeah, man, like it wouldn't cost you that much, and then you ain't got to worry about dropping, on 10 cars a year or nothing like that. So I like old Austin Dillon, man. I love Richard Childress and Childress Racing. I love that 3. So, I mean, I tell you what, listeners, in the comments, how you get us. If you get us on the Spotify, if you get us on YouTube, please listen in the comments. Who had the hottest take of this playoff prediction season at the NASCAR Nuts and Bolts podcast. Is it Caleb with Carson Hocevar? Is it Thomas with Josh Berry, who I would really like that actually? I'd like Carson Hocevar too. Um, or is it your boy Gene with Austin Dillon, Mr. 29th in points last year? Who's got the hottest or ice cold take, however you want to look at it? Please leave it in the comments for us and let us know who out here bumped their head this week. I have a feeling it might be me based on y'all's reaction, man.
So what I gathered from your pick for Austin Dillon was the reason you chose Austin Dillon was because he's gonna save you some money from buying diecast this season. So that's why you picked him. Got it.
Now, boys, listen. I think he gets a lot of flack. I think obviously being Richard Childress' grandson comes with a lot of its own flack, right? Him and Ty Dillon both. Let's be honest. So I just think he's got a lot of talent, man. He's a big money racer, if you will. I mean, he's got a Daytona 500 and a Coke 600. I'm not going to do any bold predictions like this, but I will tell you, like something like an Atlanta in week 2 of the regular season, I can see Austin Dillon that 3 running strong all day and sneaking up there and getting it done. That's just what I can see. And there's plenty of other opportunities throughout the year to get it done. So I tell you, we will timestamp this on January 29th, and we'll be able to come back after 26 races and make fun of at least one of us, probably a lot of us. But that was fun, man. I think I threw old Thomas for a loop with the format of it, but he got there in the end, man. So that's good, man. All right. Well, all right. We're on record, boys. We got our playoff picks. The season's getting ready to start, informally in LA next Sunday. Or this Sunday. So we're locked in. We got our playoff 16 each person. So it'll be fun to go look at that back. So did any of y'all leave besides the names I mentioned? The Ty Gibbs and the Daniel Suarez's and for you two specifically the MTJs. Did y'all leave anybody else? It was a hard decision. Like I really wanted to put him in, but I couldn't. Was there anybody there?
I'm to be honest, I kind of just did not even think about Truex. To be honest, like it wasn't even a thought. Like I just forgot he even raced. but
Wow.
not nothing personal, but I was just like, wow. Like I don't know. I thought he was in the 10. I didn't realize he wasn't until you said something. So I guess that would have been one I would have replaced Reddick with. So I don't know, but no, I mean mine was pretty. Hocevar was pretty much the wild card. If not him, it would have probably been Ty Gibbs. That'll probably be mine. Him or Ryan, Ty Gibbs or Ryan Preece.
Yeah. Yeah. Thomas, did you have anybody on the cutting room floor that we missed?
Nope. I thought Ryan Preece would have been a good choice too, but I think Josh Berry has a better shot at it, honestly. But Ryan Preece was a name I was thinking of.
Yeah. Oh man, I forgot too. Caleb and you both had Chase Briscoe making it in.
Yep.
Wow.
I got Briscoe in on points. I don't think he'll win it though. I don't think he'll win.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's fine. I mean, that's pretty bold. Wow. Thomas has 2 SHR cars making it in, the 14 and the 4. So wow, man, that's bold, man. That's bold. It's almost as bold as Austin Dillon making it, but that's bold, man. So all right. Well, if y'all don't have anything else, man, that was it for me.
Okay, guys. So for the trackside chatter, for this weekend's LA Clash, NASCAR will be debuting an electric car and running the NASCAR Mexico Series and also introducing lighted pit boards. This is all new information. So what do you guys think about it, Caleb?
I'm gonna start off with the Mexico Series. I mean, I don't really care for it. I mean, I didn't even know about it until it was mentioned in the fan council survey, and that's how I found out about it. And they put the thing. It was like, do you care about it a lot, little, at all, or I didn't even know it was a thing. So yeah, who was it? Keselowski's calling it with Waltrip, I think, or Larry Mack, or someone's calling it with him. So think that'll bring some insight. Michael Waltrip up there in the booth, so that'll be pretty fun. And I think the lighted pit boards are pretty cool. I am looking forward to that. A lot of other sports are doing light up boards, signs, whatever. Charlotte FC does it. A lot of soccer teams does it. WWE does it now with their banner in the ring. I think it'll look really cool at night races, and seeing how they illuminate on the cars during pit stops will look awesome. The downside I do have about that is what if someone like wrecks into one? Like, what happens? Does it just like turn off? Does it bust? I mean, does it explode? What happens? But I think that'll be cool to see, especially come night races. Now the electric vehicle, I had to do a little bit more digging on this because it definitely was something that I was like, like anybody else, when you talk about electric and NASCAR and racing, you're like, yeah, no. But I feel like NASCAR, simply because of the headline of electric vehicle, they will get a lot of flack for what it's bringing, and they will potentially lose the vast majority of their grassroots fans and the vast majority of their fan base, simply because of the word electric. And after reading the article, I thought it was interesting considering that O'Donnell and the other guy, they actually went to Asia and did their research and homework on how H2 racing works. But I'm not 100% sold on it or on board on it. But I think with the technology and the new changing of the limits of it, I like to see how it works out, though. I like to see how the H2 car works or EV car works out.
What do you think, Gene?
Yeah. So let me go systematically down the line here, and I'll I want to touch first on because I probably have a little bit more to say about it, but I'll talk about the electric car. So as the oldest fan on here, like I probably somewhere in the middle. It's like the fans older than me are going to say, they're not. I'm with Caleb. They're not going to have anything to do with it. They're not even going to entertain it. A lot of them are going to um, resist heavily. I think uh, anything to do with that. And the main thing is going to be. I hate to break this down very superficially, but I'm just going. I don't even know any other way to say it other than the sound, the smell, and the fuel that is NASCAR, is like being compromised in their minds here. And well, I think it'd be a very cool niche thing to throw out there every once in a while for maybe like exhibitions and stuff. Like, you know, I just don't get the whole EV thing personally, and I know like it's maybe my generation and back, but I mean, everybody's pushing EV. Do we have the the electrical infrastructure in this country to support if everybody goes out and get an electric vehicle? No. Um, the batteries are so toxic, and how to dispose of them. Um, it, I don't know. To a lot of people, this could be like this move to what they perceive as a made up crisis, so like I just think there's a lot of things politically involved in this that's going to not land well with the fan base. Not I just think it just comes down to simple. If you want to not touch that part of it, which I get, it's just going to come down to, are they going to sound like NASCAR race cars when they peel off and they're going around and you're live at a track? Are they going, is it the smells, the sounds, the rubber, the fuel? Is that what we're going to get? No. So like I'm very interested to see it, to see what it looks like. But when I tell you, knowing me, I'm just going to say it's probably not going to land well. When you talk about the NASCAR Mexico series, I'm like Caleb. Like I just pretty much found out that this was a thing. Guys, last year I just found out there's a Canada series, the Pinties.
Yeah.
Like, I can't name one driver in Canada, much less Mexico. Um, and I can barely hang on, me personally, to the National Series stuff and ARCA. So like I think it's cool where they're at this weekend. If they want to roll that out there and expose us as the fans to it, I'm for that. Caleb, you mentioned the announcers lineup. is Daniel Suarez not going to be announcing? He does announcing for Fox in the Xfinity Series from time to time. Is he not listed to help announce this Mexico Series?
I do not think so. No, I think it's Michael Waltrip, Brad Keselowski, and Larry Mack, or it's just Michael Waltrip and Brad Keselowski.
Guys, we just sat here and I tried to brag on Fox real good, but that is a huge miss if you don't have Daniel Suarez out there involved in this broadcast. A driver who fought and scratched and clawed his way up from go-karts in Mexico to where he's at today. He's not going to be involved in this thing. That's a big miss, fellas. And the lighted pit boards, I think they're cool. I definitely I like the restrictions I'm hearing, and kind of from what I understand, it gives the sponsors more exposure. I'm all for if it allows the drivers to see their pit boxes and stuff better. That's a win. I don't want anybody losing a race because they missed their pit box. I know that's a variable in this whole deal, but I'm for that. I'm excited to a degree to see something I haven't seen in the NASCAR Mexico Series. I'm okay with the pit boards. This EV car thing, I'll look at that too, but I'm not optimistic at all.
Yep. To answer your question, yep. Adam Alexander, Michael Waltrip, and former Cup Series champion Brad Keselowski will call the Mexico Series race, and Josh Sims on pit road.
Okay. Well, Daniel Suarez and I guess hopefully he's got plans at Disneyland, or he'll be at the Hollywood Boulevard, or he'll be shopping on Rodeo Drive, and he told them no, because if they didn't get him, I hope it's Daniel's decision and not Fox NASCAR. That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I can't agree with you more, Gene, about what you said about electric cars. That, like, we don't have the infrastructure for that. And not on top of that, but I don't know if you guys have heard, but getting like a batteries replaced in an electric car is very expensive. And I think that's going to be very expensive for the race teams. And I don't know how much more, how much less, or I don't know the dollar amount that it would cost for a Cup Series team, for example, to switch those out or to repair them. But it's going to be expensive. And not only that, but the people you have working on the cars now are used to working on the gasoline engines, and they're going to require more training to be able to work on these electric race cars. And that's going to cost the teams even more to have to pay to get their employees trained, or they're going to have to go and search for a new workforce to find people who are certified or whatever, who can efficiently and quickly work on these electric cars, assemble them, maintain them, or whatever. But I just don't think that electric cars is not NASCAR. I mean, let's be real. And I just, a good portion of their fans are going to just stop watching, and it's not good. And if you go to the track, like one of the main things about NASCAR is just hearing it and feeling it, and just going to the track, and just that's a big part of it. And if you go there and you're just sitting there in the stands and it's quiet and there's like speakers playing car noises, that's not going to cut it. And I mean, I guess having an electric car, I guess it's cool. It's something that you could, use for pit stop practice, like they have been doing. But just to show it every once in a while, to have some fun with it, whatever, it's no big deal. But if you want to incorporate that into a full-time Cup car, that's not gonna fly. That's not gonna work. But moving on to the NASCAR Mexico Series, I had no idea this was even a thing until recently. And quite frankly, I really don't care about it. I mean, that may sound rude or whatever, but I just don't really care about it, to be honest. And for the lighted pit boards, I mean, okay. I mean, I think it would look cool for the night races. And I mean, if it has benefits for helping the drivers find their pit stops better, if it helps the drivers, then I'm all for it. But I don't see it as a huge deal. But I guess all in all, if it helps the drivers, then we need to do it.
I got to ask you a question, guys. Both of you, I want your weigh in on this. If the NASCAR Mexico Series race turns out to be better, more exciting than the actual clash, what's that going to do for you? Is that going to pique your interest? Is it won't move the needle a bit?
Probably won't even move a needle, to be honest. Because granted, we didn't even know about this until recently. So if we're just hearing about it now, I mean, post Clash, what how else are we gonna? They're not gonna they're not gonna advertise it like they've been advertising the Clash. They're not
Yeah,
gonna sit. NASCAR's not gonna sit there and say, "Hey, watch the Mexico series versus the one we have here and the Daytona 500 on Sunday." So
yeah,
it's not even gonna move the needle for me.
You know, when you
yeah.
say that,
And
I don't even recall ever seeing an advertisement like previously. Like they don't promote it. And if it is a good race, I'll enjoy it. Watch it, whatever. But it's not going to make me want to tune in the next time and watch it. Don't really care. I mean, it is what
yeah,
it is. I got Cup Series and Xfinity to watch, and trucks too. I don't really see the need to add another thing to have to watch, but it is what it is.
yeah. And listeners, the reason we're talking about this, you're talking about, in my opinion, three of the most diehard NASCAR fans on the planet, and we just found out about this, and like we didn't have any prior knowledge. We don't know about it. We don't. I hate to say it, but we really just don't care right now. So um, I think that's a fair assessment, to be honest. So that was all. I just wanted to ask y'all that.
Yeah. Well, we talked about the Clash, the EV car, Mexico series. Speaking on the EV car and losing grassroots fans and whatnot, I think we're gonna dive into our speedway spectacle here, where I gotta ask you guys, Darlington grassroots throwback. The throwback weekend, no longer on, Labor Day weekend, now in May. The grassroots throwback campaign where drivers give their story on their upcoming journey to NASCAR in the Cup Series, Xfinity, or what have you, or just NASCAR Premier Series racing in their local short track, dirt tracks, what have you. What's your thoughts on that? What you look forward to for that weekend? What kind of schemes you looking forward to? Or would the drivers even participate? And then following after that, I must ask. Matter of fact, we can get to that after we hit on the grassroots Darlington's bit right quick.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool. Like they've done these little things with one-offs with different drivers. So I think to make it actually about that, I think I honestly, boys, I think we're going to see a lot of paint schemes we didn't know about. Like I don't know, just throw something out there. Like Kyle Larson's go kart scheme might show up on his car, and we didn't know about it. Or whatever. I'm okay with it. I did want to go in a little different direction on this to ask you, boys. Did y'all hear that it was kind of weird. I think a couple of days ago I saw where the spring Bristol race is doing some form of throwback, an unofficial kind of throwback to the returning to the concrete. So you may see drivers throw out an additional
Mm,
throwback, but I actually thought that was muddy in the water, and I don't know if that was Darlington Raceway and uh, NASCAR owned tracks versus Speedway Motorsport and Marcus Smith owned tracks to kind of throw a little throwback element in. But I honestly I think that the throwback thing needs to happen one time. It needs to be at Darlington. We don't need to muddy the water up on that deal. But I'm okay with the grassroots thing if it's just this year. Um, I very much look forward to seeing paint schemes that honor the past NASCAR paint schemes, and that's what I enjoy seeing most. I mean, every once in a while, you throw something out there that somebody's original paint scheme. I think Jimmy Johnson did one of his Baja schemes in his last years in Ally, which is his Baja truck, which I thought was cool. So stuff like that's obviously there's room for it, but I just didn't think Bristol kind of stepping on the toes of Darlington with that announcement, and I didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, um, but I'm good with it either way. Um,
Yeah, I think the grassroots thing is cool too, and I think you will see paint schemes that you might not be too familiar with, and I think that's a good thing because it might expose some fans to some racing that they didn't know about or some history they didn't know about, and it would help further their knowledge and help them become more familiar with racing. So I think it has its advantages. But like you said about Bristol and Darlington, I think that needs to stay at Darlington. And I'm a huge fan of throwback schemes. I love them. but I think that just needs to stay one weekend in Darlington.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Um, I definitely I gotta agree with you on that, Thomas. I enjoy seeing those throwback cars also, and I think we're gonna see, you know, Gene, you say a lot of schemes from the past. I think this year, I think we're gonna see a lot more of those late model schemes that they used to run, a lot of schemes that were ran at South Boston or Southern National, Wake County, what have you. I think we're gonna see a lot of those versus more throwback. I don't know. We may see a couple throwbacks to some through some older drivers, well, drivers that are now retired that used to race that kind of stuff. Maybe a couple Tony Stewart throwbacks or anything like that. So maybe some Harvicks or maybe even juniors. So I think it might be cool to see that. But while we're on that subject of paint schemes, you know, teams have been releasing paint schemes for the 2024 season. So I gotta ask, what is your favorite scheme and what is your least favorite scheme so far?
Yeah. I actually was surprised that when I went on J Ski to look at these, I thought more would be released. So I guess they're going to do that throughout the season. But man, when I tell you that, and I hate to say this because I loved Harvick's Bush Light scheme, but man, if they didn't kind of one up the Bush Light number 4 scheme from the last few years, that number 1 Trackhouse Bush Light scheme that's got more primary white, like snow capped mountains on it. The way they, Harvick was an icon, a legend in my opinion. So like he had all these long standing sponsor partnerships. So on that Bush Light scheme of the Harvick car, you had to put the Mobile Ones, you had to put the Hunt brothers somewhere, you had to put the gear wrenches and the reams and all that. So man, that one Trackhouse Bush Light scheme of Ross Chastain looks so clean, man. It's one of the best looking cars. It's going to be one of the best looking cars on the track, man. And my least favorite, as of right now, of what I've seen, is the number 20 Ream car that Christopher Bell's doing. And you have to go on the J Ski and look at it because I'm sure they haven't really hyped that up. But boys, we moved the door number to allow the sponsor to take full advantage of this kind of more crunched up next gen car. And all you got is the number 20 on this ream, and you got the ream logo right beside it. But when the sponsors don't utilize the back quarters of these cars, that drives me up the wall. Why the heck did we move to slide the door numbers forward if we weren't going to take full advantage? And on a lot of these schemes, you're going to see an open back quarter with nothing on it. That ream scheme has nothing on it but black paint or black wrap. So that drives me up the wall. And I love the Hunt Brothers schemes, and I love Joey Logano's too. But there is a little piece of that back quarter that doesn't have anything. I mean, put a slice of pizza on it or something. I mean, do something. But anyway, that's my pet peeve for this sliding the door numbers when the sponsors don't take full advantage. And that ream one, y'all gotta go look at that one. That one don't have anything on it.
All right, so for my paint schemes, I'm gonna bring it back to a driver from the Racing Rundown. It's gonna be Josh Berry's Sunny D paint scheme. That one, to me, it looks really good. And I also wanted to mention the Morgan and Morgan Kyle Busch scheme he's gonna run at the Clash with the palm trees on the side. I think that looks really good. And I had one more on here, which is the William Byron red and white Exalta Flames paint scheme. I love the way that looks. I think it looks great. However, there is this random like black box around the Exalta on the rear quarter. I don't know what. I think that completely ruins it. I mean, I love the way the car looks, but that just throws it off to me.
Hey
And
Thomas, I didn't
yeah,
know we were gonna do some honorable mentions. That was on my honorable mention too, but I don't want to draw too much attention to why I think that black box is on there, man. Um, let me just tip it though. I think it has something to do with going through tech inspection.
yeah. Well, I did see a video about possible cheating, but I'm not gonna accuse anybody of anything, but whatever.
Yeah,
But I do have one more I wanted to mention, just as my least favorite, and this might be a surprise, but it's going to be the Chase Elliott red Lumar paint scheme because of the blue number 9. That's disgusting. I'm sorry, I can't. They should have just made the number white and kept it normal. They didn't have to use the Bill Elliott Evernham 9. They can stick with the normal 9, but they need to keep it white. The blue just throws off the entire car, in my opinion.
Wow.
But whatever,
Yeah.
those are my picks.
Yeah, I actually thought that one looked a lot too much like the Bill Elliott Ray Evernham throwback, so I didn't like that one too much either. I thought they could have done something with it, but yeah, look at Kaleb looking back there, seeing that one
Look,
he bought, man.
it's right there. That's it right there.
Yeah, that's a beautiful car right there. But anyway, the
But
return of Dodge to NASCAR, right?
look,
I wish.
y'all, you hit the nail on the head with Chastain's Bush Light. That was my favorite. Thomas hit the nail on the head with William Byron's. That was another one I had. I really liked his 2019 white Daytona Flames car. I really liked it. Really liked that one. I do have a chase scheme that I do like. It's the Clash scheme. I really like that, and I think that will look really cool under the lights and look even better if he wins in it. But my least favorite is the 2024 number 10 Rush Truck Center's Ford Dark Horse test car by Mr. Noah Gregson. That is the most plain, dull, boringest car I've seen produced by Rush on SHR. Zero
Yeah.
effort was put into that scheme.
Yeah. And for those of you that want to go on J-Ski and look, what Kaleb's talking about, you're 100% right. It's just like a gunmetal steel gray with a big rectangular Rush Truck Center on it, and that's it. It does. I didn't even think about that. It does look like a test car, my friend.
Yes,
Absolutely.
that is a test car from like 2018, 2019, what have you.
Yeah, that's definitely and that's what he's debuting. I almost looked at it and I thought, man, is he going with like a, hey, I'm raw, man. I'm coming back into the Cup Series and I'm just raw, just like this paint scheme.
No.
Yeah, hard into the wall. Yeah, you're right.
Hey, at least you don't have to pull off. The wrap won't go nowhere because it's just basically it's just metal.
And the sheet metal will still be $500.
It's a good thing that you picked that one to be your least favorite because you won't be seeing it a whole lot. It'll be running in the back of the pack, so you don't have to worry about seeing it on TV too much.
Woo! Shots fired. Shots fired. Hey, what you gonna do when Gregson gets that win for SHR and then Barry's sitting at home and Gregson's in the playoffs, man?
I'll be happy. Hey, I won't complain.
No, he's gonna hit pre-order on the Lionel website for diecast.
Oh yeah.
By the way, nobody on this podcast thinks that's gonna happen. I'm with you on Josh Berry. I'm with you on Josh Berry over Gregson. I am. That's fun, man. I think more will be released as we go, but back, I don't know, man. I just thought, back in the day, these paint schemes would be released before the season even started. All of them, I guess, in the new world of gaining sponsors every week that we are in, I guess that's where we're at. But yeah, some of them look really good, man. I'm gonna revisit this one little thing. Are we still mad at the door numbers being slid forward, guys? Are we kind of off of that? Want to see him go back to the center?
I mean, as a fan, you would love to see him go back to the center, but I mean, at this point, they're probably not going to go back no time soon. So, I mean, I done got used to it. It's whatever. I mean, it's there. I mean, cars are still racing, so I'm good.
Yeah, Thomas, you still all right? What's up?
I mean, I certainly would love to see the numbers back in the center of the door, but I think there's other improvements and issues they need to work on with the car rather than the number placement. Yeah, they got some other things they need to fix before worrying about where the number is. But I would like to see the number where it's supposed to be, but it's what it is.
Yeah, no. Old curmudgeon here. I'm actually probably the one that cares least about it, and I was the most vocal about. I was so mad when they did that, but now I don't even care. So there's that. All right. Well, fun topic, boys. Let's all go on ahead to fuel for thought to start our slow descent to the NASCAR season here, starting with the LA Clash. But I want to talk about. I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about just throwing it back. Speaking of throwback, I want to throw it back personally, and I want to talk about, what got you into NASCAR racing? Is it like something that you came up with in your family? Is there maybe like a particular race that sticks out when you were younger? It could be a particular driver or a team that caught your eye. And since I'm a little older than you boys, I got a little more history, so I'm gonna start it off and tell you. I remember my first memory of NASCAR was I was probably about 3 years old, and my grandmother took me down to living in the Charlotte area. When you didn't have a lot of money, going to Myrtle Beach was like going to probably like Dubai, for the rich. You couldn't tell me nothing, man. We were going to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and
Oh,
by
dirty
way of
Myrtle.
Dirty Myrtle, that's right. Wasn't so dirty back in those days, but anyway, we going down from Charlotte and going down 74. You take that right, and if you drive for about an hour or an hour and a half, and then you will go right past the Speedway, Darlington Raceway, on your right before you make another turn, right there at the Speedway, and we're riding down. I'm about 3, 4 years old. I can't even remember how old I was, but I was very young. We stopped in at the Darlington Raceway, and it was the Darlington Raceway Stock Car Museum attached to the raceway, and it was open. So we stopped. We pulled in the van in there. We get out. We go in. I don't remember anything about what was in the museum at the time, except they had a Richard Petty number 43, like 1974, let me see here, Charger, right there, like a 1974-ish Charger, and it was a simulator. Now, boys, back in those days, a simulator means they just stuck a TV monitor on the dash, and they had a open and shut car door, and you could get in it, and you could watch a movie, first person perspective, like Richard Petty was driving down like something like Riverside or something. And man, that enthralled me as a young kid. I still remember that memory. I don't remember nothing about that beach trip, but I remember stopping in the Darlington Raceway and getting to sit in that number 43 Petty blue and red STP. So that was what got me hooked. I fast forward to the 80s, and I had a bunch of Matchbox cars, and I had a Richard Petty Ertl 164 that I ran through many slide and sandbox, and I had a Darrell Waltrip 88 Gatorade followed by a number 11 Mountain Dew. I can't even remember. I think he had two different ones back then, but I played with those cars. And fast forward again to the 90s, growing up, coming up in North Carolina, and I just remember the Dale versus Rusty 1990s, man. You go into a gas station anywhere in North Carolina, and back then that's where you got your hats, fellas. We didn't have lids, so there'd always be a black 3 hat with white number 3, and there'd be a black 2 hat with I guess a yellowish or gold number 2, man. And that's just what I remember about racing in the 90s. That rivalry was strong. And then when I was in high school, I think 1993, Jeff Gordon, a young brash rookie, came to my hometown and signed autographs at Walmart, and I was hooked on the 24 from there, man. So those the rest is history, but that's my story. That's why it's been in my blood ever since I was a kid. Is those particular 3 or 4 moments. So I'm gonna kick it to Thomas, man. What got you involved in it, and what keeps you there, and what's a good memory to share?
I think my very first introduction to what NASCAR was probably playing NASCAR Thunder 2003 on the GameCube at my grandparents' house at a very young age. I'm pretty, and I just have memories of sitting there in that chair looking up at the TV, just playing it, terrible graphics, but it didn't matter at that time. And it was so fun. And, also growing up, I also had the 164 diecasts. I mean, I had a bunch of those, and I played with them, and they're pretty beat up, but that's what you do when you have diecasts when you're a kid, you destroy them. But I've always liked NASCAR, but I never went to any races until recently. And I met Kaleb at ECU, and that kind of re-sparked NASCAR for me and kind of brought it back to me and like made me really interested in it and started going to the races again. And now that, I've met you now, Gene, and we've started the podcast, it's like really solidified NASCAR for me. And it keeps it new, keeps it fresh to talking to people that are like-minded. And it's, I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, man. That's awesome, man. It don't matter when you start, but you're one of the most diehard NASCAR fans I know, man. So, it don't matter if it was just even a few 3, 5 years ago, man. You are definitely um, one of the most knowledgeable, level-headed. We were joking earlier before the pod tonight, and I nicknamed you the professor and the technician, man, because you always come with some facts, and then when you have a take, man, it's a it's a good one, man. So yeah, that's great, man. That's a great story. Caleb, what you got?
Yeah, so my love for NASCAR started in around about 2003, 2004. So dad put me in a go-kart and I raced go-karts for a little bit for a group called Max's and up around the area, traveled around parts of the East Coast, parts of North Carolina, just showed up and raced at some parts. So dad had me put me in front of a TV, kind of like the old cliche NASCAR, typical NASCAR driver. Here, watch this driver and, follow, see what he does and see what you can learn from it to take to the track. And I chose Jeff Gordon and there was no meaning behind it. The guy had 24. My birthday's on the 24th. So I was like, I'm going to root for this guy. And I mean, I would say I picked a really, really great one and been a diehard fan ever since. But I grew up going to Wake County Speedway, Southern National Park in Lucoma, and going to South Boston and County Line up in Elm City, and those tracks being not even like 30 minutes from the house. It's kind of a given. And then having the history of NASCAR up around the eastern part of North Carolina with not even North Carolina, but with Emporia, Virginia, with Elliott Sadler, Hermie Sadler, being literally like 45 minutes from Rocky Mount. You learn about that stuff being a NASCAR fan, and then I'm throwing in a little history here. I learned also about Wilson County Speedway and how Dale Sr. won there in 1977. It was his first and only race there at the Speedway. And he drove his father-in-law, Robert G's number 17 Camaro, which was driven by Billy Scott and Darrell Waltrip in the Southern Late Model 200 at Wilson County. And I don't think many people notice unless they've watched Lost Speedways with Dale Jr. that there's a Raleigh Speedway in Raleigh, North Carolina. It was a 1 mile paved paperclip oval shaped speedway, super speedway, and it closed after 7 years of operation from 52 to 58, well 1952 to 1958, and it hosted IndyCar race there on July 4th before becoming a NASCAR sanctioned track in 1953, and it hosted several NASCAR Grand National events. But that 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 that's what always piqued my interest in NASCAR was being so close to history and being so close to NASCAR. And, like you going to Myrtle Beach, we would go down 95 South and then exit out to Conway, and on the left is Myrtle Beach Speedway. And, that's where I'd always want to go. And then growing up, we would always take a trip to Florida, and we'd always have to go drive by Daytona. So that was cool. And then going to Myrtle Beach and going to NASCAR Cafe Park, whatever it was, and driving Jimmy Johnson's 48 Lowe's as a go-kart, or Jeff Gordon's 24, Dale Earnhardt's 88. That was always fun to me. So I think that ever since at a young age, I've always loved it. And then, like you say, meeting you guys and having mutuals to talk about it with, and finding Thomas at ECU about it just brought back, memories, and a lot more diecast now, I can say for sure. But that's what got me in NASCAR, and I guess I could say it's definitely in the blood, North Carolina blood for sure.
Absolutely, man. That's a great story, man. I didn't know you dabbled in the go-kart circuit, man. That's
Yes,
pretty
sir.
awesome, man. What what if it what, we'd be we'd be coming and getting pit passes and coming watching you, man.
I
So
know, right?
yeah, yeah, that's a. I tell you, man, it's really fun to talk to you guys each week. You know, I think Thomas has mentioned it before, but it's just seems like it's hard to find folks like us that are really, really into NASCAR. And if you listen to this podcast, man, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know if you're out there and you're just like us, because that's literally how we started this deal. We just linking up by chance, and all being from North Carolina and born and bred into the heart of this sport. And I love it, man. I couldn't. I don't know if I could function without NASCAR racing in my life, man. Don't tell the family that. Like, there's a hierarchy, and they're definitely above it. But man, I just love NASCAR racing, man. I love
I
it.
think
Love
I
it.
think like you say, I think now more than ever it tops any other sport that I watch. I mean, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
We were just talking about Duke and Carolina playing Saturday, and the clash is being on literally at the same time it's all going on. So putting two TVs up or something.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. That Tobacco Road rivalry runs deep in North Carolina, but yeah, we'll have to figure out how to manage those two. But awesome, boys. Well, thanks for sharing. I know those are personal stories, and I know hopefully it lends a little bit of insight into why we do what we do every week, and try to bring this podcast to the listeners. By the way, we are trying to get this thing off the ground and kind of learn as we grow. So we appreciate you being patient with us as we learn to get better. But also, if you know anybody that's even half like us and ain't listening to us, just mention us to them, and hopefully they can roll on this journey with us as we go through the 2024 season. So. Going to start the outro real quick, boys, by doing our traditional diecast reveal. And Thomas, I'm going to make you a promise, buddy, that the next time my episode rolls around, I'm not going to do a Kyle Larson reveal, but I definitely wanted to show you this one, because this is actually my first truck in of all the diecasts, of the hundreds of diecasts I've bought. This is my first truck, and it's the 2023 North Wilkesboro win Kyle Larson did during that week. And I want to take this out the box here real quick and show you guys, because again, I've never purchased a Craftsman truck in 124, but here we are. So get the shell off here, and here we go.
Oh yeah.
So he kept that thing kind of clean for that race as he was going through, and old Bubba Wallace gave him a little bit of a run for his money. But typical Spire Motorsports #7 truck, which is now um, immortalized in this race version here. Again, I really don't see a lot of, obviously if I can get it up close, there's a little bit of, the tire damage, I guess,
Yeah.
and stuff around the fender wells. There's not even a lot of what I would call gravel on the hood or anything. It's a very clean truck, man. So definitely wanted to show you guys this. It's my first truck series truck. And did any of y'all have any trucks?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I have one. I have the Raja Karoof Wendell Scott 24. So as soon as that hit the shelves, I got that, and that's the only one. I have no chase trucks, believe it or not.
Wow. You don't have the Charlotte Truck Challenge win?
Nope. The Bounty Hunter win.
Yeah.
You know, I saw that truck numerous times in racing warehouse and kept brushing over it, and then when I actually was like, "Dag, I'm gonna go get it," it was gone. I was like, "I guess it won't meant for me to have it."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Caleb, you got a little bit more than that Wendell Scott Rajah Caruth Foundation car from last year. You care to tell the audience what else you have of that?
Yeah, I actually have sitting over here is the door off Wendell of Roger Cruz and Wendell Scott 24. I have the door from Road America from that race. Or it was
Man,
either Mid Ohio, Road America, or Mid. It was one of those road courses. I do know that. but it's currently sitting over here, not hung up yet. So that's gonna get hung up pretty soon. I need to quit wasting time on that.
Yeah, I was jealous because I've seen that, but I feel like the listeners should know, man. You not only got that 124 truck, you got a piece of that truck.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Well, that was just my diecast reveal, boys. Do y'all have anything on this outro?
I do actually. It is it's something that I'm sure you two already have, and I caught this at a killer steal. I would consider this came in the mail today actually, and I'm glad it came. I'm a proud owner of the Dale Jr. 2014 Daytona win. I got this
Beautiful.
car at a whopping $100.
Wow.
So I as soon as I saw the price, I jumped right on it.
That's
Heck yeah,
amazing,
man.
man. Beautiful car. Beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah,
And,
Thomas, would you say that's in your top 5 of all time favorites?
Right now, that's my absolute favorite car in my collection. That's number one for me.
Yeah.
now I
That
gotta
race means a lot to me, for sure.
I gotta throw in an honorable mention here. We were talking about throwback schemes and whatnot. I also got this in the mail, which is a number 25 Chase Elliott Napa throwback. And breaking news: I'm gonna start collecting Chase Darlington throwbacks. So I'm three. Well, let's see. Yeah, I'm three in. So I'm got one on the way currently also, and I'm currently on the hunt for that light blue 2017 Darlington throwback. So if any listeners out there are willing to part ways with it, please send a DM and I'll make you an offer.
Yeah, we do this every week, folks. And I mean, if you watch us on YouTube, or even if you listen on Spotify, I want to just go back and fast forward to our the end of the show, our diecast reveal. We're going to continue to do that. We're huge into diecast collecting, and it's just fun for us. I mean, something comes to the one of these three residences every week, and we wouldn't be doing ourselves justice if we didn't show the listeners what we spend some of our money on. So it's
I'm
always
surprised. I'm surprised our mail people don't know us by name.
yeah. I have a feeling mine curses me every other day when they got to walk up to the door and you see him on camera putting it down, and I run out there and get it. So yeah. um, all right. Well, that was good. Is that all you had for the outro there?
Yeah, that's all I got. That's all I got.
All right, Thomas. You got anything you want to get off your chest before we end episode 5, going into episode 6, where you will host, my friend?
Got one thing I wanted to bring it back to the truck series diecast. I was looking at buying that Larson truck win, but there wasn't enough race damage on it for me to want to buy it. But I am looking for a Casey Kane Charlotte truck win. That's one that is very hard to find. I don't know if you guys know this, but I am a huge Casey Kane fan, so that is a truck I am looking for. So I guess if any of the listeners have one that they want to sell, leave it in the comments. I would happily like to purchase it.
Wow, man. That's awesome. I didn't know how big of a Casey Kane fan you were. I mean, I had we had talked. And I knew you were a fan, but I didn't know you were repping the double K's, man. Do you watch his World of Outlaws sprint car team any, or you just don't really follow him much on that realm?
I don't follow him much really on that realm, to be honest. I'm a big fan of that Budweiser not number 9 COT.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. I tell you, I watched him win at least 2 600s in that Budweiser number 9 at Charlotte, man. Back in those days, he was a force to be reckoned with, man. He sure was, man. He was good. Casey Kane was a great driver, man. I know he had some health concerns. I don't even want to call them issues, but some health concerns toward the end of that deal, and ended up stepping out of the car. I still think he's one that could jump in right now and um, do the job. So, yeah, great driver, man. All right, boys. Well, that's just gonna wrap episode 5. We'll look forward to the end of this episode, going into the LA Clash Kaleb, as always, bud, why don't you take us out?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got to keep the old man in check. If you guys would, we appreciate you guys listening to us every week, listening to us talk about NASCAR and our diecast and whatnot. If you would, we appreciate everything. Appreciate the followers on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all of that. We appreciate the likes, the follows, the subscribes, and we will catch you guys next week on episode 6 of NASCAR Nuts and Bolts Podcast.